I've been working on Node for building things in Node for, I guess it's coming on about 3 years now. So it's been a while. I started out fairly early, and actually after the first Node knockout, I ended up deciding to pack up my entire family and move out to San Francisco and work on Node full time. So it's been fun, and this talk is some of the the learning that I've had in how you create real products and real services in Node, and sharing some of that, some of the perils and some of the takeaways, some of the ways in which you can really effectively build out a service, scale out a service, and go from the inception point of where you decide to start with the app and to where the app needs to be. So again, I'm D. Shaw. On the Twitters, I'm an angry pink unicorn. Actually not in real life. And like I said, I like to build things, and I like to build things with Node. Came to Node as a mid-tier developer, and doing Java backends and rich client front ends, and really hit my stride with Node, hacking with the emerging HTML5 standards, and specifically WebSockets. Doing WebSockets early days with Java was excruciating. An absolutely painful process. And if you're building anything real-time interactive, eventually you're going to want to put that on the internet and share that with people, because doing real-time interactive things on localhost is boring. It's not a good architectural fit. So there's a cumbersome process with putting the service layer up in Java. Found early at the time it was Node 2 and WebSocket Server was there, and it really changed the way I developed. And a lot of what I wanted to do was really just the websites, doing the interaction, building the rich client experience, building that interaction experience that was dynamic, and the back-end infrastructure was secondary. And once I was able to add Node in there and iterate on that with Node, and then subsequently down the line, I was programming JavaScript on both ends, and oh my God, I get to unleash the entire ECMAScript 5 potential that I've been hacking with, but couldn't really apply in the front end. And from there, I just I went all the way to the back end, just having so much fun. Didn't have to deal with Internet Explorer anymore. It's awesome. Things that I've built in Node. Came out here to San Francisco, worked at a startup called Storify. I was the lead engineer there, helped launch that product. Storify's social media aggregation, lots of JSON, really great fit for Node. After that, I was at a company called Spreecast. There I was the Socket.io guy. So really had a deep dive into building and scaling Socket.io. Interesting challenge. If you're doing that, come talk to me. We'll talk about it. We'll cry on each other's shoulders. While I was there, I started. Node Knockout brought me out here. I started giving back. I met the team. Helped build and organize the event, and now I'm on the core I really, really love Node Knockout as this glorious deep dive event where you go and do some crazy thing that you wouldn't normally do, or maybe you like. There've been startups that come out of Node Knockout, but just go 48 hours of Red Bull beer and fun, create something interesting, and it's what brought me here today. So lots of appreciation for it. Now I work at a company called Voxer. We are one of the largest Node companies in the world. We have about 40 million users, all Node soup to nuts. All of our infrastructure, all of the platform is built on Node. And Voxer as a communication platform is perfectly tuned to where Node excels. So Node can be a lot of things for a lot of different uses. You can go to let's call it like the surface layer of, oh my God, this is JavaScript on the server. This is awesome. This is fun. I'm not context switching when I'm going to my server. That's awesome. Then the real sort of underlying potential of Node comes to bear when you're doing complex I/O and streaming. It's an area where the event loop that Node uses is especially effective, and it's a lot of fun. And then in 2011, I banded together with a bunch of friends and started the Node firm, and we offer sort of high-level consulting services and training and architectural guidance and stuff like that. Basically, a way of us giving back to the community and making sure that people come in and know how to use Node effectively. It turns out that it's different. So one of the main things that you'll want to do with your Node processes, especially when you're building a product, is try to do as little as possible. It's counterintuitive, but if you're if you take sort of the business-driven ideas and apply it to programming with developing your MVP, this is kind of the best way to develop out your Node app. Keep it really simple, and that'll apply all the way down the food chain. As you grow out, the more your processes are simple, then the more effectively they'll be able to interact and serve your requests rapidly. So keep it as simple as possible. I've been working on this concept that is kind of functional programming for architecture. So having these very discrete units, and these units are processes. These are nodes in your architecture that are doing very simple services. If you're coming from a Rails background or something like that, where all you do is you modify the core infrastructure, that's not you can build Node like that, but it's not the best way. It will not serve you well in the long run. You need to think of Node as being a collection of discrete processes that handle discrete tasks. That's where Node really excels. If your process answers the questions, what do I do? And it comes back and it's like, everything? Okay, that might work. That isn't a bad thing. You can do your web server, your Socket.io server, your API server, and some background processing tasks, all in the same Node instance. Not every app is going to be a Facebook killer. Sometimes you're just going to be putting up something that by intent is simple. So you can pull all those into an app, but that is not that will serve you if the scope is yay high. You'll want to approach things very differently if the actual scope of the application is going to be far beyond that. And there's this evolution, and you can begin to pull them out. But once you have things, a very large monolith is extremely hard to break down, and you end up attacking the monolith from the outside rather than being able to pull it apart very easily from the inside, and you end up sharing code in a very different way. Back when I was doing a lot of Socket.io scaling things, I ended up having 5 Socket.io servers, Socket.io announce server, which is a process that can publish events to Socket.io clients directly from deep in the infrastructure, and a web server, and all these different components that you basically need to spin up together. So I created a module called Mixture, which you can create these as independent processes, but if you need to have a single execution point, this is a nice wrapper around it. So it allows you to craft these individual things, but then in your development, you just fire up a mixture. Oh, I want 5 Socket.io, 2 announce, a web server. Great, we're good. We're going to test all this and the interaction around that. It's a nice way to begin crafting that. Not a way to go into production. So good tool. It will allow you to have those discrete things, but roll them together. So that was that. So this generalization. So my website. If I want to build in an API and Socket.io and do those things all on a single process, that is fairly easy to do. My website is not a product. I'm not going to go get funding for my website. I don't know if you've seen that I'm CEO of a website. Sure. I am CEO of bshaw.com. Awesome. That website can have a lot of interaction and a lot of technical complexity to it. But it's never I don't know. I don't think that my personal website is going to hit some amazing scale point that I need to do a bunch of crazy sharding and the other stuff that we're going to get into. It's good enough. That is good enough. I don't really plan on scaling out bshop. It's just not in its purpose of cool problem if it ever happens. But that's not where that particular project's going. But if you're building a product, you need to plan for scale. And when I started that was one of the things that I was seeing. I was seeing, friends of mine that were starting startups, they were using something like Rails. They have massive productivity at the very beginning, and then you actually get users, and they were hitting real bottlenecks. I'm not going to name names, but there was a service that had 100 users, and we were having service limitations at 100 concurrent users, and it's like, this is not scale, guys. No, this is bad. What I've seen is that Node offers there's a little, especially if you're coming in a little newer. Node offers a little bit higher curve in getting up to speed, understanding Node. But once you have this baseline established, then you can go and extend those processes out. And I think there's a stronger build-out curve. That once you're actually at the point where you're responding to your actual user's needs, you're able to expand and extend a lot faster because you've built on that. So beginning to understand what the various components that you're going to have. If you're going to have a real-time thing, if you're going to have an API, what it is you're doing, how deep your interaction is going to be. A lot of what we're going to go into here is like how complex of an interaction do you need to have. Are you just providing information? Are you, WebSockets immediately take you to the next level. There's, the real-time communication, which is such a great fit for Node, takes you to another point. But at the same time, you have other endpoints that are just pure API. You're going to have different levels of complexity that are going to show up. So for your simplest things, keep it as simple as possible. This is generalization. My bad. Tools that are baseline for building your HTTP story. Express is great, very simple, awesome documentation. It's an early definition of how we did things in Node. So if what you end up wanting to do is go to the next level with Node, and if you're going to do anything with complex data manipulation, streaming, whatever it is, if you look at the Node primitives of callbacks, event emitters, and streams, if you're considering streams, step back from Express. Express is awesome. If all you want to do is do the surface layer, write JavaScript on the server, extraordinary API, one of the simplest, most expressive, but it has never embraced streams fully and possibly never will. It has Connect as its underlying mechanism for continuation passing and building up the response. It may never come around to strings. If you love that API and you want to go into a more Node-y framework, I really recommend that you check out Restify as your primitive. It comes from Joint. It is part of their fundamental part of their architecture. architecture, and it has dtrace hooks. Really, really great. I'm actually going to do a podcast with some of the Restify, some Restify developers, with the main developer of Restify. So if you're intrigued by that, check out the coming Node Up. We'll go a little bit deeper into that. So Express, but really consider going to Restify. And if you're going to go from this generalization to specialization, keep it as simple as possible. You can make amazing strides with a simple router and node create server. Don't dive into a framework too quickly, because you'll rob your understanding, and some nodes in your larger architectural vision may just be very simple request response handlers, and that'll be enough. So you need to guard against doing too much, and the fundamental reason that you have that is Node is built on an event loop. So the worst thing that you can do, I don't know if you guys remember the whole Fibonacci number kerfuffle around Node. So complex computation will broaden all your processes. There are effective ways to handle that, and putting everything in your main process, your primary interface to the world, and doing complex computation there is bad. You'll pay for it. You need to keep that event loop going so you continue to service the request. Go calculate your Fibonacci number in a separate process, and come back when it's ready, and keep servicing your users. So there are a bunch of trade-offs that you run into, and so the event loop is one of the things that you end up having to deal with. In a large production service, you also have it crashes, processes go down. Node is phenomenal because it takes milliseconds for it to come back up. I was down at LinkedIn the other day talking to their mobile team, and they were explaining how different the spin up times, the restart times with their Java services as opposed to their Node services. Their operation people are not familiar with the fact that it could possibly take milliseconds for a process to come up from start. That's a totally foreign thing for them. But things will go down in anything that's serving a connection. A crash will take a node down, but you have that distribution, and we'll talk about in a second some of the techniques for being able to deal with that and have the fan out. Moving from generalization to specialization has a fairly steep cost in deployments and operation. So when you have that one general thing, and all you're doing is like serving up eshaw.com, that's awesome. And we'll set that up, and that's easy. But when you have your Fibonacci number process back here, and your socket process, and your API server, and all of those things, deploying that, we you definitely have a trade-off there that you end up dealing with. So, moving too aggressively to specialization has a cost. And a lot of it's at the operations level. So, operation level, management level, and monitoring, all of that, becomes, more complex as you evolve that out. But, gives you, in your team development, the ability to go in and specialize, isolate, deploy independently. It's not an easy win either way. There are trade-offs all the way down, but depends on the profile and growth point of your app. So my favorite type of clusters. And the thing as an architect and as an engineer that I try to get everyone to stay with as long as possible are just dumb clusters. You hit any node in that cluster and it's capable of giving you a response. That's awesome. And as long as you can stay there, stay there. That's you can horizontally scale that for miles, and your only pain point is your back-end data stores. That's great, and even if you end up going farther down the path, this is your happiest place. So some things that you have that are great for that, static files. If you have a solid cache behind Node, you can really do an amazing job serving up static files. Simple websites, your API servers, and very simple stateless services. Great, love these. So some of the tools that you can use for that. There are third-party tools. They're fairly well known. You can put those in front of Node. Doing simple round-robin DNS, or relying on one of the proxies. A little bit more interesting if you want to get into doing that in 100% Node. So some of the tools that Substack has around service discovery and things like that. Seaport, a really good tool. Then Nodejitsu's AC proxy that serves large part of their infrastructure. Basically, if you go to a site, I'm not intending to harp on dshaw.com, but if you go to dshaw.com, it is...
You're allowed to plug it. It's cool.
It's not that interesting. It's a big thing in my face. Not that big. But all, their entire service layer all goes through HTTP proxy, and they handle all that through there. We have at Voxer we have a pooling tool called Pulley. The developer Danny Coates, the creator of Node Inspector, is ex-Marine, and Pulley's some Marine joke. It's kind of lost on me. It's like, oh, that's a weird name, Danny. And I finally looked up Pulley. I was searching, I googled Pulley and got this other. Oh, that's a Marine joke. Sorry, dude, didn't get it. Some sort of new Marine recruit. Anyway, so Pulley is how inside of Voxer we load balance amongst very large pools of node processes. Very, very production tested tool. So, like I mentioned a little bit ago, when you have those dumb services, very frequently, they're all going to go back and look at some data source as the definitive answer. Maybe they're serving static files, but they are fronting another data source that all those nodes are going to come back to, and that's awesome. You can subsequently point down. Your data store could be a bunch of Reacts like we have, and that gets a little bit more complex down the line. The data store is your definitive answer when you have your dumb clusters. So things get a little bit dicier when things need to be a bit smarter. So take Socket.io. Take Socket.io and WebSockets, and even worse, the long polling functionality in Socket.io. You really want those requests to go back to where they were, because the session information is most likely going to be loaded up on that server. And the more complex, again, the more data you put into that session, the more complex the metadata around your connection, around your request, the more you want that connection to go back to the same place. We're increasing in pain here. Things get a lot more complex. Your processes get a lot more complex. Your load balancer got a lot more complex, your deployment gets a lot more complex. So rolling those processes means that where that user went back. So interesting sort of tangent on session affinity. So at Voxer, we had to drop SSL in Node. It sucked. It was painful. We have long prided ourselves as being 100% Node. We really enjoyed having all of our architecture there. But with session affinity, we had these nodes that basically, when you restarted them, all 2,000 or so connections would come rushing back, and they'd all go through the SSL handshake and basically block everything. So you have the event loop doing complex computation. And so you'd sit there and watch the logs, and logs would be unreadable, burning across the screen, and then stopped. It's just so these are architectural choices. Only go there when you absolutely have to bring into the mix sticky sessions. So the third-party tools, slims down a little bit. You have Hop, Nginx. If you want to keep things a little bit more nodey, I highly recommend Stud. We ended up replacing our SSL termination with Stud. We don't use Michael's Stud proxy, but if you want to do session affinity at the proxy layer, Stud is fantastic. Really small, tight process, not a lot of complexity, and check that out. When we left SSL, we actually went through all 3 of these. We tried them all, ended up on Stud. Really nice. If you don't know Stud, go check it out. So the farthest down the line are your smartest cluster, where you have a lot of metadata all at your edge nodes. A lot. You have what everyone's connected. You're streaming real time. You're pushing data out to users. Push is a real strong context for this. Voxer is all consistent hash strings, and every time I talk to people about that, they're like, "Oh yeah, awesome," and I'm like, "No, stop that. Remember the principles of simplicity, and run away from consistent hash. That's what you need." So there is the use case. There is if you need a deep affinity to that connection, if you need to pull a lot of cache up to your edge, that is going to be a scenario where you're going to want to consider a consistent hash rate for your architecture. But use it at your edge layer. Use it in as few places as possible. So the properties of determinism, and one of the most exciting things about having this hash ring, when you're changing the ring size, it only tweaks things just a little bit, and all of the other nodes are still pointing to where they were. And I don't know why this country made so though the consistent hash ring is an exceptional tool, but it is a very specialized tool, and the amount of coordination that you have between processes. In order to restart a consistent hash ring infrastructure, you end up we call it a roll. You do these rolling restarts of all the nodes, and you have to allow for the time for the ring to coalesce. Really, a lot of infrastructure and operational pain associated. So if I can say pain one more time, and you can take that away, and not implement a consistent hash ring, unless you need it. I'd love that to be your takeaway from this. So some tools. Unfortunately, Voxer's hash ring hasn't been open source. We talked about it. It's just so sort of wrapped in the Voxer proprietary stuff that pulling it out and extracting it into a module hasn't been something that we've done yet. We talked about doing it. If you're unsatisfied with some of these solutions and want more, build your own. But bug me, and I'll keep pushing to get it open source. The most maintained option, woke me up. The most maintained, most up to date is Third Eden, one of the core contributors to Socket.io, and winner of No Knockout 2. So he has a hash ring implementation. It's very good, and first choice. Brian Noguchi has one of the earliest implementations of hash string. It's actually written in C++. It's a native module. Generally, again, considering operational complexity, native modules with a compile step on the server, having to rebuild it, only use that if there's no better alternative, no faster alternative with Node. So, I went and checked out Brian's module recently, and it hadn't been updated in a year. Usually a bad sign. So it might not be valid. I know 13 is up to date. Great module. So if you have to do it, check out 13's. If you're really going there, you might end up. There's so much that is probably going to be proprietary in the depth of interaction, the amount of metadata that you need to pull into your edge processes, that you might want to use these as a starting point, but you might also want to build it yourself. It's not that bad. If you're doing that level of complexity, the added step for the hash rate and tuning to your server's polymorph. So in summary, choose the right task, keep it as simple as possible, as dumb as possible, do as little as possible. The least expensive computation is the computation you don't do. So this is the Node logo. It's weird. I'm actually wearing the old logo shirt tonight. I love it. But the thing I love about the logo is that all those nodes in the background really is illustrative of the shape of an effective node product. So that's the real beauty of it. So thank you very much. I think we have a bunch of beers to drink, yes. And I'll hang around and maybe go out and after finish that, go out and have some more beers.
All right, give a. So we do have more beers in the back and more pizza, I think. So if you guys want to hang out and chat and whatever. If you want to plug something, if you're working on a project and kind of want to come up here and tell everyone all at once, you're more than welcome to head up here. Don't be shy. All right. You want to? Yeah. All right. We have one person that's not shy. All right. Cool.
Yeah, I didn't really. I didn't really prepare anything for this, but I worked on a framework I released earlier this year. Basically, if you're using Node.js for the first time, one of the things you might wonder is this is great, I can use JavaScript on the server, I can render my templates on the client and server, and then it's not as simple to easily render templates between client and server. So one of the tools I found really easy for this is require.js, because you can easily load a template, compile it with the server, compile it with the clients, and then also require it. And then in production, it has a nice build. So the framework that I put together was basically for managing CSS and templates together, building and rendering on the client and server. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, it's called Zest.js, and the website is zestjs.org. I'm very interested to...
So again, I
Zest with a Z?
Zest with a Z.
Zestjs.org. So yeah, if you're very interested to chat to people who have been
ZESTJS.org.
ZES.
Yeah.
Hey, and I'm Brian. This is Crystal Bunch for Lab. So working on an error tracking tool. Basically, it's called Rollbar. It collects errors that go wrong in your node process, whether they're caught or not. It actually was used on the Node Knockout website, so it works. Check it out, rollbar.com. ROLLBAR.com.
Cool. Anyone else have anything they want to say? Thanks for coming out to another San Francisco Hacker News meetup. We'll have more speakers and more movies soon. I know you guys love the movies. So yeah, thanks very much. Oh yeah, one more thing. So we shoot a tech show called Techendo, Techendo. We get drunk and we talk about tech. If you want to be on that show, or if you want us to spotlight your project, let us know, and we'll totally cover it. You come be on the show, and we'll feed you beer. So yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot for coming out. Have a good evening.